We are back on the abandoned Golf R32 in today's video, guys, and in this video we're going to be going for a complete service overhaul, including the Haldex. We've got the gear linkage part as well, so hopefully that will solve the gearbox problem, so we can therefore road test it, MOT it, and basically pass this one off and back on the road. Now, if you haven't seen this Golf R32 before, guys, click in the first video where I unveiled it as a barn find, and yeah, once you've seen that, come back and watch this one, and we're going to go through and get this car back on the road. Now, from the last video I kind of just dumped it here, and I've already removed, this is the new part, this is the new bracket, and it was this part here that seized and snapped, and which was, fingers crossed, why the gear linkage was very notchy, but obviously it's not connected, so I had to just put it in gear manually here and drive it here. I think I have just selected reverse all the way down and back, so fingers crossed I'll dip my foot on the clutch and I can go backwards. Got the jump pack started. We have a new battery to fit as well, guys, so let's get it into the workshop and let's start getting this thing back to tip-top condition. Right, she should just fire straight up. Oh, this is gonna be awkward actually, because I've got to keep my foot on the clutch and I've got to disconnect. I'll have to put it up here in the engine bay. There we go. Sorry, I'm having to keep the camera down because on the trailer to my left is the car that I haven't revealed just yet, although I'm pretty sure most of you know what it is. Actually started quite nice there actually. Right, hopefully I'm in reverse. Yes, cool, in the workshop. It sounds like a very annoying wasp when you speed it up. Now, before we start the overhaul, there's two things to address. That is, how much did I pay for the car? Because in the last video I said I'd give the person who got the closest, the quickest, 5 free tickets to the M2 competition. So we'll go through that in a second. And also the other thing is, I had a few comments, I don't know how many exactly, 5 or 6, saying, well, obviously I must have known what is wrong with the car because I bought the car for the previous owner, so therefore I could have just asked them. Well, actually, I never dealt with the previous owner directly because the owner doesn't actually live in the UK. I guess that's part of the reason why it's probably parked in a barn. I dealt with the parents. Now, the reason the car had to be sold is because they were moving out and downsizing house, so it had to go. And that is why it came about. Now, we didn't actually find out why it had been there for 4 years. We could only just assume that there's something wrong with it. Now, since the last video, the owner has actually got now in contact with me. He's seen the video. I guess someone sent him a link or something. And it turns out that the gearbox problem, the notchiness, is the reason that it had been, well, the main reason it had been parked up. Someone told him it needed a new clutch and flywheel, and it was going to be like £1,000. So along with that, and also the running expenses, because it was in London, it was just too much to maintain and run. So it ended up getting parked up and then just got left there, really forgotten about, and until obviously 4 years later when we come and picked it up. So that is what happened. So fingers crossed then, what the gear linkage issue is the only issue. And the other thing is, I asked you guys to guess how much I paid for the R32, and the winner would get 5 free tickets to the M2 competition that is up now. The M2 and the Golf GTI are up for Compete for Cars, so go check that out, guys. So if you head over to Compete for Cars, I'll put the link in the description. We've got the M2 and the GTI both up for competition now, guys. Only 64% sold on the M2, and it draws tomorrow, Sunday. So go grab your tickets now. Really low odds. So yeah, go grab your tickets. And then the other competition is the 480 brake Golf GTI, and we've only sold 38% of that as well, guys. And that draws next Friday. So go grab your tickets, and yeah, someone's going to get a great car. Or 2 great cars. Now, we'll just scroll through the comments list now because there was a lot of them, and there was a lot of wild guesses, anything ranging from sort of £3,000 up to £20,000. So what I've just done is I've gone on the video, I've put it at newest first for comments wise, which is the only thing I could do, and I've just scrolled right to the bottom, so therefore the first comment is at the bottom. Now, I actually paid for it, drum roll, £7,000, which is about an average, I suppose, of what people were guessing. So the first person to guess £7,000 was actually pretty quick, I think. Let's just scroll up. There we go. So Brian Falconer, 217. You were the quickest, you were the closest, the quickest. So I'm gonna like that, love that comment now, and I'm gonna pin it, and it's gonna be up to Brian now, because I can't actually contact you. It's going to be up to Brian now to get in contact for his 5 free tickets. So well done. So we've got all our parts here in the box, what we're going to be doing today, and I've gone and pushed the boat out and gone fully, well, apart from the battery, I've gone genuine parts and everything. So we have the genuine gear linkage here, which we're going to probably do first just to make sure the gearbox all then works properly. And then we've got a full service kit, all genuine parts. I've got spark plugs as well, sump bung, and I've also got Haldex oil, so we're going to change the Haldex oil. And I've also bought a Haldex filter as well, which is in here, which normally doesn't get changed by the dealer. So we're going to go full hog on this. So the first thing we might as well do is try and fit this gear linkage. Hopefully stop it from corroding again. There we go. Right, we are fully in position now. So now I've reset the gear linkage cable, so now we need to just set that up so it all works properly. Now again, I just use a drill bit, which is obviously too big. And then I use one that actually fits, and we just lock it in position like that. You need to lock your gearbox in position with this tab here, so you need to push it all the way in. And to do that, you just press the selector down and then push the pin in. It's really hard to do with one hand, and then just, no, I'm gonna have to do it with 2 hands. You just press the selector fork all the way down, you push the pin in as far as it will go, hold pressure on the pin and slowly lift up the selector, and then it will just slot in and stay there. And then once you've done that, and then with your springs all the way in the compressed position, all you've got to do is just twist right, and that pops them out and locks them into position. Same with that one, and then just make sure they're fully out. And there we go, gear linkage is set up. And then just push that, release the pin, take your lock out the gear stick itself, and that should be the linkage all set up. So I think we're going to start on the offside rear wheel issue that we've got. Because if we take a look at the others, offside front, nice. Near side front, good. Near side rear, beautiful. And we've got the offside front, not so beautiful. So we've got a binding brake here, which would obviously fail an MOT, and we've got to work out whether it's the piston that's seized or the caliper sliders. So I think the first thing we're going to do is strip this wheel, because we may need additional parts to fix this. So with the caliper off now, and annoyingly all the blue has come off the caliper, I'm going to pump the brakes so the piston comes out, and what I'm going to then try and do is just wind it all the way back and see how seized it is. I know you can get rebuild kits, but I think a caliper's like 60 odd quid. So for the purpose of that, it would be easier just to put a new caliper on. But I'm going to just pump the brakes out now. So I've actually sped up this footage because it took so long, but this is me actually pressing on the brake pedal as hard as I can, and you can see the piston barely moving, and it's like I've got the caliper all fully installed. So we need a new caliper. And there we go, even with the caliper, with nothing restricting it, I couldn't even pump the brake, and it was like it was all fully connected because the piston is still not coming out. So the piston in there is, the piston cylinder is seized inside the caliper. I had a look online, I can get a rebuild kit for 35 quid, and it will be here in like 2 to 3 days. Or I can get a brand new caliper, which I'm pretty sure is just a reconditioned, fully reconditioned caliper, but it will come in blue, the correct color. I can get that tomorrow for an additional 30 quid. So in my eyes, no brainer. That'll be here in the morning, and I'll go pick it up, and we can just swap out the caliper, and that should be that issue fixed. So that is why I started with the potential problem there. So for now, I'll move on to dropping the engine oil and tackling that rear Haldex. This looks quite rounded, this 6mm in here, so it might not work. No. Some donuts rounded that. I wonder if I can get T45 in it. No, okay, we're gonna have to do that the old-fashioned way. Now, this is the messy bit where I expect to get completely caked in oil. I'm going in protected. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, actually. I think I've overdone the costume. Right, that's a new O-ring, new filter. In she goes. 25 newton meters on the oil filter housing. Click. Then the sump bung up to 30 newton meters. Click, 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 click. There we go. So now we've removed the fill bung, which will get air in the Haldex. We need to remove the drain bung, which is this 8mm Allen key on the side. There we go. There we go. So now we move on to the filter. Now, I used to work at main dealers and we never changed the filters. It wasn't a recommended change, so we only ever changed the fluid. Now the filter is here, if you can see where I'm tapping, and you need a 24mm socket, I believe, to undo it, and then you should be able to get it out from there. So if we just crack it off, like so. The filter should just come out. There we go. Alright, and there is our filter. So let's take a look at this. I don't know how much we'll be able to see of it and see how dirty it is, but we'll give it a go. So we have our old filter here, look, which looks pretty good condition, to be fair. Don't look too bad at all. And our new filter here, look. So we're just going to swap that straight over, put it in, and we have a new sealing bung as well. And then the new plug with a new O-ring. And that was so ridiculously easy. I have no clue why dealers don't do that standard. It took 4 minutes, if that. Now I'm going to use my pump tool to refill the oil. Now normally I think they take around 850ml, the Haldex coupling, but because we've changed the filter, my guess is it's going to need that extra 150ml in this bottle here. So I've already cleaned out my bottle, we're all good. Oh, why'd you keep falling out? Think about it, it's just coming straight back out. Why is it coming? It's just going to do my head in. It's not going in. It's just literally coming straight back. As soon as I pump a little bit, it comes straight back out. So no matter what I did, every time I tried to pump the fluid in, it just kept coming straight back out. So I found a little hack, little ingenious hack, and I got a rubber grommet, look, pierced the end of it, stuck it through, and then pressed the rubber grommet with obviously the, why is it not focusing? Pressed the rubber grommet with the end into the filler bung and held it against it and then pumped so the fluid didn't come out, and that worked a treat. So that's all gone in, that's all done up now, and I've just moved on quickly to remove the caliper quick, which I have just done. Luckily it came out fine with no brake pipes being cross-threaded, etc. And I need to now go exchange this for the new one, and we can see that the new one, or brand new look, VWG TRW, so it's a TRW genuine caliper, and I believe we are getting a TRW genuine caliper back in blue as well. And there we go, new caliper, and it's actually a genuine one as well, look, same markings, VWG TRW, and it's already been painted in the required blue. So for 70 quid, I'll take that. It's much better, in my opinion, than buying a service kit. So I've got a fitting kit as well. So let's get that fitted back to the car, and that should solve our binding issues for the brakes. So whoever fitted the tyres is a knobhead, because they've done the wheel up so ridiculously tight that when I just tried to remove it, it is completely sheared off the locking wheel key. Look, completely sheared it in half. Now if I just get my magnet, which I just had here somewhere, just pull it out. There we go, look, just completely sheared it off. So that is ridiculously tight. Again, just nothing is simple, is it? A simple thing as trying to get a wheel off results in now me not being able to do just that. So I can't take any more wheels off, so I've only got the offside rear one off, and that is it. The other three, I've cracked all the normal nuts off, but obviously the lockers I can no longer do, so I can't take the wheels off. I was going to do a nice brake fluid change, and that is why I was trying to take the wheels off. So again, I've managed to find obviously the correct locking wheel key code on the back of it. I've ordered one online. It's not going to be here for a few days. So there's nothing I can do now for the brakes. That is the reason I wanted to take the wheels off, so we could do a brake fluid change. So we're gonna have to do that. Well, it's gonna be a subsequent video, I guess. Obviously at the end of this video, the car's gonna be going off to the body shop anyway, so I'll probably do a final update video with it back from the body shop, and then we'll do the brake fluid change there. So we'll have to leave that for the moment and carry on with the engine service. And there we go, look, just showing you the caliper, offside rear caliper is all now on and in position. So now we've just got to bleed the offside rear caliper, which I'll do in a moment. Obviously I was going to do that with the brake fluid change, but now the car's on the floor, we'll move on to the top part of the engine, and that is just going to be the air filter, which will go in the box here, and we're going to do all 6 spark plugs as well, and obviously top up our engine oil. Now, to take the coil packs out, there is actually a special tool, believe it or not, but if you're careful with a pair of pliers, you can just wiggle and pull them all out. Gap on the new one that you can see there is a lot smaller, so these are quite worn, so they may have not ever been changed. And for those of you who are cringing with me putting spark plugs in with a gun, I do it very carefully. I've always done it, and I've never ever probably done 2,000 spark plugs, never had a problem. As long as you do it carefully and don't go mad, nothing wrong with it. And obviously just do it so it goes tight and then torque it up. And once you've torqued all your spark plugs up, again around about 25 Newton meters, it's just refit everything. You can just press the coil packs back in, click all your connectors back on, and job done. And then the air filter, which is well, unfortunately the air filter is literally brand new. And here we go, look, another perfect example of genuine versus patent part. So this patent part man filter, look, is what was in the car, obviously brand new, probably cost about £10. And then we've got our genuine 1KA part number, genuine filter, also though made by MAN. And if we have a look at the product code, C36188, C36188, which means these two products here are identical, the patent part being probably a tenner and this one being probably next to 30 odd quid. In fact, I'll have a look in a minute and I'll tell you exactly the price difference between these two, even though they're identical. And so here's our invoice, look, so you can see air filter there, and it's £25.77 plus VAT, so we'll just call it £30 for a genuine filter. Okay, I'll slightly let them off this time. I can get one for 20 quid. I mean, it's still a 50% markup though, but it's not as bad as it could have been. Right, and the last thing I need to do here is just fill her up with oil. And the last thing we need to do now is just replace the battery. And then we can go for a start. Let's just get this one out. These terminals are a little corroded, so I'm just going to go and sand them a little bit. Ow. There we go, she sounds lovely. But the good news is I'll just jump in and as I suspected, my gear linkage problem is now solved. So, oh no, oh no. I ain't got a second. So I just said I was having issues with the gear linkage still, and it still wouldn't go into, it wouldn't set properly, it wouldn't go into first, second, everything was just a little bit off. And I tried 5 or 6 times to reset the linkages here, but it just wasn't going into first or second. Now, it looked like, I just got my sister to help me, and it looked like what was happening is this adjuster bit here, the actual gear cable pushes inside of this spring here, and depending on where it sits on the spring is how you set it. Now, it looked like from the previous this bit here that snapped, it was set further back, but when I was trying to set it back to where it was before, it was hitting the stop on this new piece here, which I've got here. So the gear linkage was going inside of this, but it looked like it was hitting the end of here, inside here, and it wouldn't let me go further far enough back, which is why it wasn't going into first and second. Now, I've just put the old one back on, set it back up to how it was. It's gone further in, and now absolutely perfect. Gears 1 to 6, all smooth, silky smooth now. So, I mean, this is a genuine part as well, look. But for some reason, it's not as deep as the old one, and that was just causing me all sorts of problems, and I couldn't set the gear linkage up. But I've now solved it. Luckily that this part here wasn't damaged. I mean, I just put the new one on because I had a new one. So I have just put the old one back on, and that has now fixed the problem. So yeah, just a little bit weird why that's slightly different. I have just found another problem actually with this bonnet latch, another common problem. The bonnet latch does not work. Stuck, common problem. It's a bit manky in there, so I have just ordered a new one for 20 quid, so that'll be here in a couple days as well. So we're starting to build up a bit of a list to do for another video. Just the one thing I've forgotten to do, and that is the pollen filter, because they're very annoying. There you go, look. Don't know if that's ever been changed, not gonna lie. I can never remember which way around these go now. Right, just gotta hoover up that mess, and that is that done. Right, so the last thing I can do today is just take it for a quick spin up and down the drive. It's nice and warm, I've let it idle for 15 minutes. We're gonna test our gear linkage obviously, and obviously make sure it drives. I've just reset all the codes, so the only warning light I have on the dash now is telling me the front, the bonnet's open. Obviously we know that. I've ordered a new latch. And we just want to test the brakes as well. Good news, I pushed the car off the ramp, brakes are no longer binding. Obviously we can't do the brake fluid change until I've got my new lock and wheel key, and we've sorted that problem out as well. But we can just have a quick tear up down here. So let me just turn on my other camera. Handbrake also now works as well, because that was a bit iffy before because of the seized piston. So we'll see what she sounds like. She should sound sweet. Gears work nice now, first is cool. That typical 3.2 rasp. Very iconic noise that. I'm gonna go too mad. Brakes are good. Yeah, that's fine. Lost my phone, it's gone down there somewhere. Now obviously I'm not going to MOT this now until it's come back from the body shop, purely because it could be a couple of weeks. I don't want to waste a couple of weeks MOT, and also I know it's going to pass. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this at all. Have a quick little blast. Lovely noise that is. Nah, she's sweet. Brakes are much better now, they're fine. Beautiful. So that is going to be it for today's video, guys. I'm glad I managed to sort out that gear linkage problem with relative ease in the end. But yeah, we are pretty much there with the R32. There's just a few niggly problems with the bonnet latch, the locking wheel key, and obviously the bodywork. And I think that's it. There's probably something else I'm forgetting as well. But that means in the next episode, guys, we're going to get all that sorted, and it is going to look 100% with a fresh MOT. So if you did enjoy this video, guys, please do like and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the video. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.